Hello everybody, welcome to the weekly bump for the week of Monday, September 19th. I hope y'all are doing amazing and had a great weekend. So as always, we have 3 piles. Now this week I am using some crystals. So we have pile 1, we're using Celestite. Pile 2, we're using Chrysoprase. And pile 3, we are using Peacock Ore. So go ahead, take a moment. Some people feel intuitively drawn, other people do not. That's perfectly fine. I always say if you don't feel truly connected, you can always just randomly pick a pile and there will likely be a message in there for you somewhere. But if you do, then now would be a great time to pause the video and feel your way through this. So timestamps for each pile will be found in the description box and the comment thread down below. And don't forget that if you are a member of any level on my website, please be sure to log in and check the blog page for the weekly readings that we do for each zodiac sign. Okay? All right. Thank you all so much. See you in just a sec. Okay, pile number 1, you guys selected the Celestite. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what comes through for you here for the week of September 19th. 9 of Swords, 4 of Cups, okay, so the Judgment card and the 9 of Swords are kind of like polar opposites, okay? A 9 of Swords can feel overwhelmed, insecure. There could be a lot of fear or stress, a lot of confusion. But then we have Judgment, which is really about coming up out of that darkness. Now would not be a good time to just make any old decision for the sake of getting yourself out of a current situation. It's going to be in your best interest to, 4 of Cups, right, to restrain yourself a little bit in terms of making choices that don't feel 100% in line with what it is that you want to do. Some people will feel impulsive, okay? They're going to feel like they have to hurry up and do something, or they have to settle because they don't truly believe that something better or the real thing is coming on down the pipeline. Judgment is here to say, don't worry, it is coming on down the pipeline, and I don't want you to jump into something. And you may actually notice this in other people too. People feeling a little resistant to committing, resistant to showing up in a real way. But I think that's for everyone's best interest. I think right now, Mars is really starting to slow down, okay? He's not going retrograde until October 30th, so it's still well over a month before he goes retrograde. But between like today and October 30th, he's only moving 10 degrees. So he's still moving okay, but he's starting to really, really slow down. And so the stars are kind of pacing us. And it's sort of, the stars are sort of forcing us to take things one day at a time. I know that when Mars entered into Gemini, it was like go, 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 go. And everything was so like, and there was a lot of anxiety or stress or whatever this 9 of Swords is, but now things are starting to slow and things are starting to even out. Even Saturn is slowing down, getting prepared for his motion, moving direct. Pluto's doing the same thing. So like things are turning around, but it's not a fast movement. All right. So pacing yourself and only choosing, I'm not saying don't choose anything or don't make any decisions whatsoever. It's just, I wouldn't make choices that make you feel like you're settling, all right? It's going to be better for you to wait for something that makes you feel really excited and makes you feel optimistic about things rather than choosing something just to get yourself out of a situation, okay? So let's see what else comes through. Yeah, 5 of Wands. 5 of Swords. There just may be some things that really aren't within your control, and that's kind of normal. Yeah, see, exactly. The Judgment with the 10 of coins, you're being set up right now for success. It just doesn't feel like it. You may feel like things are going in the opposite direction, or it's like not growth, but it's like the opposite of growth, right? Maybe there has been some loss, or there has been some sacrifice that is needed to be made. But, that was to be expected. As the sun came across Neptune last week, it is common to experience a little bit of a dip. Now, the sun, as of today, is at 26 degrees of Virgo. Neptune is at 23 degrees, so it's still in opposition technically. Luckily, it's separating, or it's coming off of that opposition. And then the next few days, the sun is moving into Libra, and it's going to come into an opposition with Jupiter. So I do feel like if you can just wait like a week, or put something off for about a week, it will start to really make a lot of sense. 5 of Wands, 5 of Swords suggests, maybe some chaos, I guess we could use that word, conflict, commotion, things kind of getting riled up, or things kind of getting a little bit messy or disorganized, or whatever it is. That's okay. 5 of Swords, it's not a good time to self-sabotage, okay? It's not a good time to win just for the sake of winning. It's better to win for the sake of your overall goodness, for the sake of your overall well-being. Impulsiveness right now will not go well. If you impulsively do something, or say something, or commit to something, it's just, man, that Mars pre-shadow, he's kind of really coming into that degree. And we just have to be more cognizant. We have to be more aware of the effects of certain choices. And if we are not feeling truly ecstatic and truly happy about something, chances are it's really not for us. All right. And if we do move forward with it anyway, it'll probably peter out or fizzle out pretty soon. So to save ourselves the trouble, to save ourselves the problems, it's probably best to just stay put until something really exciting comes our way with the Judgment card. Because I know that the goal, I love the 10 of coins, because I always say the 10 of coins symbolizes whatever you want it to symbolize. It can represent your idea or your version of abundance and prosperity and success. So if you don't have like a very clear view of what that means for you, like what does prosperity mean for you? What does abundance mean for you? If you don't have a clear idea of what that means, it's going to be hard to make decisions accordingly. So now would be a good time to get clear, because clearly there's something here with the 9 of Swords that's preventing that clarity from. It's like you have the clarity, but you don't want to operate according to that alignment, right? Because maybe doing so would require a little bit of disturbance or a little disruption. Maybe acting in accordance to your own alignment means making someone else a little unhappy, or offending someone, or pissing someone off, right? So it's going to be important to stay firm and stay grounded. And we see that with the four of cups. It's like, this is me, this is what I'm wanting, this is what I need. I will not be swayed by shiny objects. I will not be distracted. I will not be pressured or rushed. Okay, I think taking your time right now is a really, really good strategy. A lot of people may struggle with that because they're still feeling the rush, go of a Mars in Gemini, but taking a moment to step back and to really breathe through it is going to be ideal. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull out some oracle cards for you. Pile 1, let's see what comes through. The yang, the masculine energy, which I feel mature masculine energy. It's not impulsive, it's intentional. you can still act, you can still move in certain directions. And actually, I think we kind of must at this point. Okay, we must move in certain directions. As we close out Virgo season and we introduce Libra season, we are going to be making that switch from a feminine earth element to a masculine air element with Libra. We'll have Mars and Saturn, some of our more masculine planets, all in air signs. So all of this air is kind of bridging this gap between where we are and where we ultimately want to go. And it is requiring us to actually do things. Okay, we can't, it's not a time to just sit and meditate all day, although I would recommend doing that if you can. I mean, maybe not all day, but meditating in general. I would recommend still doing something, okay? At least every single day, one step, one task, one conversation, one email minimum to get yourself closer to whatever this 10 of coins represents for you. Okay, clearly this bottom one here, conclusions are within reach. Well, yeah, I like conclusions because with the judgment, there are often a lot of conclusions. You come into clarity as well. You get the answers that you need, the answers that you're seeking. You get the adjustment that is required. I feel like conclusions, it's like anything that's open-ended right now, anything that seems confusing, anything that doesn't seem like it's paying off is going to start showing you otherwise, right? Things that feel like they're not paying off, they are going to start paying off. All your hard work, all of your energy. It's interesting, we got the full moon eclipse card because, of course, in the next month, right, the end of October, we're officially moving into eclipse season. So right now we're kind of moving, we're waxing into the eclipse season energies. So you are not going to be in this place that you're in for very long or that much longer. Within the next couple of weeks, I think you'll start to see this energy waning. And a lot of that is going to have to do with what you do. If you do sit around and do nothing, you're just going to create more Nine of Swords stress in your life. The way to get out of the Nine of Swords is through action. Okay, waking up and doing what you need to do. I'm almost kind of feeling... Now, I'm not necessarily recommending this. This is just the visual that I'm getting. Okay, I'm getting a visual of those people that wake up at like 4:35 in the morning and they do all of their dirty work before like 8 a.m., right? They wake up and they go straight into the tasks that they don't really want to do. All right, like all of the administrative stuff, checking all the emails, the more mundane stuff, any bookkeeping that needs to get done, any paperwork that needs to get done, you know, the non-creative stuff, but still it's the foundational stuff. It's like getting all of that done before you even like take a shower. That's the visual that I'm getting. All right, and that's going to help push you out of this place and help you to feel like the ball is rolling a little bit. Now, the ball has been rolling, and maybe it is a little frustrating that now it's starting to slow down, although some people may feel excited about that because it might not have been the most comfortable energy. But at the end of the day, you don't want things to come to a complete halt either, because there are still goals on the docket. There's still an agenda that you have. You have an agenda to accomplish and to achieve something. So that's just kind of what I'm feeling. Okay. All right, pile one, I'm going to leave you with that. And again, remember, if you are a subscriber on my website, go to janeinternational.com, log in. You should be redirected straight to the blog, and you'll see the weeklies that we do for each zodiac sign there. All right. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, pile number 2. You guys selected the Chrysoprase. Hope you guys are having an amazing, or had an amazing weekend and are having an amazing start to the week. So let's go ahead and take a look for pile number 2. What comes out for you? 3 of Cups reversed. Okay. Feeling a kind of a weird energy coming through from this. It's like, I feel like you're confronting something within yourself. You're definitely having to overcome something like a fear or an insecurity or an imposter syndrome or an obstacle of some kind, but more internal with that high priestess. It's more inside of you. Maybe there is like a confrontation of a past trauma, something that is triggering a past situation, and now you're like kind of having a sit down with yourself and you're saying, okay, self, like we can either go down that same pattern again or not, but if we don't want to, which we don't, we're going to have to take different actions, right? We're going to have to do things differently, change our behavior, change our mindset. And it's kind of like this kind of cheerleader I was kind of seeing cheerleaders with that Three of Cups, but it's like an internal cheerleader. Like, okay, come on, you can do it. Like you wake up in the morning and it's like, yes, this is going to be a good day. We're going to do it differently. We're going to have this conversation where it's kind of like you're psyching yourself up for something because you really, really, really don't want to repeat. But it's not so much, it's not that bicycle analogy, right? Like if you're riding a bicycle, it's like, oh, don't hit that tree. And then you go it's like the natural tendency is to gravitate toward the tree because that's where your focus is. But I feel like as an acknowledgement of something that's going on inside of you, you actually have shifted your focus toward where you want to go rather than like the obstacle that you're trying to avoid, right? So I feel that the strategy is good. Okay, it's a good strategy that you're taking. You do want something to be different. You do want to go about doing this in a different way. You do want a different outcome. You don't want to be stuck. You don't want to dwell, but it is going to require adjustment. Now, the sun moves into Libra this week. So adjustment, yes, we are all going to be feeling that as the sun moves into Libra in just the next few days. Plus, we also have a Mercury retrograde in there as well. So we are going through a period of reassessment and analysis. And it's not just like, it's one thing to like reassess and analyze, and it's another thing to implement. And I feel a lot of implementation coming from you. So let's see what else comes out. Intuitively, I'm feeling small conscious efforts in the new direction. Small conscious acts or activities that you do to get that ball rolling in the direction that you want to go. It's like incremental discomfort, right? You're slowly putting yourself out of your comfort zone, out of your comfort zone, out of your comfort zone, just one day after the next, after the next, after the next. And before you know it, you're so far out of the norm that you kind of like don't even realize that you're in this totally different place. And that will be eventual, right? It's not happening overnight. It's just one thing at a time, one small thing. Nine of Wands. It feels like there's a hyper awareness both of what you don't want and what you do want. You know that you don't want X, Y, and Z. Hold on one second. You know you don't want X, Y, and Z, and you know you do want A, B, C. So this Nine of Wands is here to guard out not only the things you don't want, it's going to keep the things you don't want out, and it's going to be highly selective regarding the things you do want. And I love the fact that these two knights are coming together and they're both like moving in toward one another, because it indicates that there is going to be a coming together. So you are going to come together within yourself And I actually like the cups and the wands because these are a lot more emotional, right? There's happiness here, there's joy and adventure, there's romance, there's passion, there's enthusiasm and excitement and overall belief and hope, right? There's so much good stuff with the cups and the wands. Fire and water, there's even an unpredictability to them as well. But you're coming together either within yourself and you're starting to choose the higher vibrational feelings, the higher vibrational environment, the higher vibrational friendships and connections. So that's more actually external as well. So there's internal coming together and external coming together. And of course, that goes hand in hand, as we know, as above, so below. Thank you, Emerald Tablets. Like, we know that that's kind of just a law, a natural law, a law of the universe. That we live in this sort of fractal reality, right? So if we are a certain way and we do certain things, then we will in turn attract things either in resonance or in harmonics with that. So the more and more you come together within yourself, the more and more you're going to start to see the external world meeting you as well. And it's this, I love this Nine of Wands. I really do, because he's vigilant, he's aware, he's alert, obviously. And I feel like there's a courageousness here as well, because maybe admitting that you don't want something has been an issue. Maybe admitting that that certain people don't line up, maybe that has been a struggle as well. But when you start finally living according to what you know, when there is no more denial or no more allowing of things that you never really wanted to allow in the first place, right? When you really draw that line in the sand and you make it crystal clear about what belongs and what doesn't, that is when your life really starts to take shape. And I think that applies first and foremost with yourself. And Virgo season, I know we're closing out Virgo season, we're making our way into Libra season, but all of Virgo season, the way it does, shows us how we contribute to the success or failure of a certain aspect of our lives. Our own accountability, right? We have to, that's what Virgo season is for us to take accountability for the things that are within our control. Now, I'm not saying take accountability for other people's behavior, not what we're saying, but it's like, well, what are you contributing to? What are you adding to? What are you enabling? And if there is anything, to cut that off if it doesn't serve you, right? Or if it doesn't serve your highest good. And I feel like with this, it's like almost an immediate effect. You start drawing the line and you start saying yes and no to the right things, and look at all of a sudden things come together. And I'm almost kind of seeing this as like a yin yang, right? We have the masculine fire, the feminine water. We know that fire and water are kind of like these opposite elements, and they sort of give each other meaning. I don't know, like I see this beautiful balance coming into place for you. That this overcoming, as I saw with that first row, like this overcoming of this obstacle is paramount for you in this moment in time. And it's really setting you up for your next chapter. Now, when I say the next chapter, I really, really mean it. Okay, the next chapter, Pluto coming through Aquarius, the next 20 years, Saturn coming through Pisces for the next few years, 23, 24, and kind of 26, 25 and 26, okay? It is a next chapter. It's at least a minimum of a next chapter of 3 to 4 years, but really it's like a new 20-year chapter with Pluto in Aquarius, okay? So these are foundational things. And you seem to be rising to some kind of internal power, which absolutely will serve you in your highest good. All right, so this is a beautiful week, and I feel like you can sense the shift It may not be obvious. It's certainly not all at once. We're all being paced right now, okay? Mars is moving slowly, Saturn's moving slow, Pluto is basically not moving. I mean, he's barely moving. So like with these powerful planets, they're just forcing us to take a breather, because when Mars came into Gemini, it was like go, 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 go for the first month and a half. And now we're like, okay, we can breathe, we can reassess. Mercury retrograde is helping us with that as well. We're moving out of Mercury-ruled Virgo, so we're going to have more Venusian energy now, so things are coming into a period of adjustment and balance, okay? Mercury energy can kick people's butts. If you're not used to it, if you don't have a lot of Mercury in your chart, that kind of go, go, go energy can be absolutely exhausting, okay? So, message in a bottle. I kind of feel an unexpected surprise, something magical, some kind of synchronicity, receiving something that indicates a magical connection of some kind, right? A magical connection. It's not really magic, it's just the effects of what happens when you are living your purest, truest life. It's what happens when you are aligned and when you are operating at the highest frequency that you can. I'm not saying you have to do it all day, every day, but when you have those rushes or when you have those pushes, it's like the frequency gets higher, okay? And you start to attract synchronicities and attract signs, is what I'm hearing. You're attracting signs that you're moving in the right direction. Your dreams need a practical plan, okay? We just went through Earth energy. It's going to be a really good time this week to sit down, and what I'm hearing is to reverse engineer. That's what I'm hearing. Reverse engineer. So ask yourself, you know, I know that God laughs at our plans, right? We can sit there and make plans all day long, but at the end of the day, we don't really have that much control. But at least it gives us some sense of direction. Like if we have an idea of where we want to be in the next 10 years, at least an idea, we can sort of reverse engineer that, and we can say, okay, well, if this is where I want to be financially, romantically, with my family, this is where I want to live, these are the types of things I want to have, this is the lifestyle that I want, then what do I need to accomplish in the next 5 years, and in the next year, and in the next 6 months, and in the next 30 days? So you can kind of like break it down. All right, so at least it gives you some semblance of direction. And if these things can be accomplished, then the likelihood of that 10-year plan actually coming to fruition is a lot more likely. Okay, so I feel like by developing some structure, these messages in a bottle, these magical synchronicities can only be expected. Right? Because you're like, well, yeah, of course I got this wonderful thing happening because I'm putting myself in that scenario and in that situation in order for that to become my reality. Right? Okay, beautiful reading. Again, quick reminder for those of you who are members on my website, janeinternational.com, please log in and check out the weeklies for each zodiac sign on the blog. All right? Thank you so much. You guys know I love and adore you. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, pile number 3. You guys selected the beautiful Peacock Ore. Hope you guys are having a great week so far and had a great weekend. So let's go ahead and take a look. What comes out for pile 3? We got the 6 of Wands. Okay, 6 of Wands with strength. It seems like you've really had to persevere with something, and you have been successful in that venture. You've been successful with that path. You have had to really release and let go of something pretty substantial that you felt may have been keeping you safe. Your fallback, your safety net, whatever you want to call it, and put yourself in a situation that is a little bit riskier. Now, this Six of Wands, right, we know that numbers 5, 6, and 7 of the minor arcana cards are associated with the fixed sign of that element. So this is fixed fire, therefore it is a Leo card. This is also a Leo card. Now, I'm not saying you have to have any Leo in your chart. This is not about your chart. This is about the archetype that is coming forward. Now, Leo is an archetype of majesty, right? There's dignity and respect, self-respect. There is creativity and self-expression, but creativity and self-expression does require putting yourself out there in one of the most vulnerable ways. Anyone who creates, anyone who is an artist or an inventor or a creator of any kind, I don't want to blanket it to anything, a creator of any kind always, always, always takes a risk by putting their creations out there for the world to see. And I feel like you've been pushing the boundary for yourself lately. You've been taking bigger risks. And I think maybe you are ready for another risk. But by doing so, there is an exposure. But maybe you feel ready to be exposed. Because maybe you've been working on your sense of self-worth, your sense of value. You've been working on your voice, your talent, your skills, right? You've been working on those things inside of you that matter. And so as you've been working on these wonderful things, the things that you really came here to experience, I would say the things you've been working on are a part of your life purpose. And now it is time for you to share. Right? Because it's not enough to just do those things in the privacy of your own home behind closed doors, but it's like, what good is a beautiful opera singer if all they ever do is just sing around by themselves, right? Even if it doesn't have to be the whole world, it could just be like, share it with your family, like share the beauty with your children or with your spouse, or, share the beauty with your community, right? To share and to contribute and to be a part of what makes this world so wonderful. And I think that you're starting to find new ways of sharing, but that does require you stepping out and letting go of that safety net a little bit, putting yourself out there. It can be really, really, really hard, but I think you're feeling compelled, almost like you have to. Okay, almost like you have to, like you almost don't have a choice. Oh my gosh, beautiful with the Lovers. See the Hermit. See, this is what I mean. You're coming out from behind closed doors. You're finishing some kind of a process that you've been going through. And I'm not saying it's officially done this week, but we are leaving Virgo season this week. This is a card of Virgo, and lo and behold, this is a card of Gemini. So we had all this Virgo and Gemini energy going on, Mars and Gemini. But now we're leaving Virgo season, and we are entering Libra season. So there are adjustments that need to be made. So if there has been anything that has been kept private or secret, or you've been working on in the shadows, if you will, I sense the desire to release it out into the world is going to get stronger. Two of Wands. Yeah, because it's a part of your vision. It's starting to get stronger because it was all part of a bigger scheme of things. It was all part of something else. And so you're being asked to take the next big leap. And I do think it is a little bit of a leap. It may not just be like an incremental step right now. Maybe it's more like 10 steps, 10 steps all at once. And that's the crossover between a mutable sign into cardinal, right? As we leave mutable Virgo and enter cardinal Libra, there needs to be this new wave or this new push of creation or this new push of some kind of a new reality that you're creating for yourself. You do have the vision. I think that's one of the most important components. And I think that's something that has been under revision for a lot of the year. For a lot of 2022, it's like only just now as we're finishing out month number 9 and making our way into month number 10, it's like only just now are we starting to really realize what our true ambition really is. Because we may have had certain goals, right? And I said this in another reading last week, I think. We may have certain goals, right? We have a goal to get a big pile of money, and that's all very well and good. We have the North Node in Taurus, so by all means, be materialistic in your goals. But what does that really mean, right? We know that money is closely associated with freedom. And I've also been saying this too, like, well, if you wanted a bigger house, maybe it wasn't so much that you really wanted that big house, but you just needed more space. Because you value space, right? Or maybe you wanted to have this lifestyle where you could travel the world, but it wasn't really about traveling the world so much as it was about experiencing different cultures, right? Or different food, or maybe you value the beauty of architecture or something, right? So it's like, what was the real value behind the ambition or the real value behind the vision? It's like the more you come in contact with the real value behind the motivation, the more likely you are to actually attain that ambition, because you can then properly align. And I see with the lovers that there is this unity, and that you are or have been going through this process, right? Virgo process of coming into unity within yourself. And I think Chiron in Aries plays a really, really big part in this, because there has been a lot of separation from self, especially I think when Chiron was back in Pisces. Now, over the last 4 or 5 years or so, I feel that there has been a slow and integral movement toward internal unity, toward a more pure identity, right? Where we're kind of erasing a lot of the falsities and a lot of the inauthentic aspects of self and coming into more and more and more of an authentic place. And being aligned with what you value is a part of that. And I feel like you feel good, or you could if you wanted. You could feel good if you wanted. You could feel enthusiastic about what's coming. You could feel passionate. You could feel optimistic. You could feel like it's attainable, like it's doable. But I do think the risk and the vulnerability is required to help you progress along that path. There are new layers now being required of you. It's not enough to just keep thinking and talking about it. And Mars through Gemini is asking us to actually do something. And with his retrograde coming up, and he's going to be in Gemini till freaking March of next year. Okay, so we've got to take advantage of this time. October, November, December, January, February, March. Okay, 6 months. We've got to take advantage of this time to move it along. To make the right, Gemini is mutable. It's transitionary. He's helping us to make that transition. When he hits Cancer in March of next year, which is also going to coincide with Aries season, we're going to have all this cardinal energy in the chart. So that's going to be really when we can get our hooks in something and really go after it. Okay, but we have to come into that alignment now, which I think you're doing, which is great. But the vulnerability here is important. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the oracle cards for you. fork in the road, indicating some kind of a choice point that you're at. Some will choose to expand, some will choose to shrink, but there is no standing still really right now. It's usually one or the other, right? We're either expanding or we are shrinking. I suspect you're choosing expansion with that Lover's card, with the Six of Wands, with the Two of Wands. That's the only possibility for you. Although you may see people shrinking, cowering. The end of a tough cycle approaches. I love this card. I think whenever this card comes out, I always feel a sigh of relief, because I think Pluto through Capricorn was, we know Pluto is a tough planet, but Pluto through Capricorn is especially rough. Okay, it's especially laborious. Okay, there's a lot of labor there. We have to go through the really, really hard karmic stuff. And it is coming to a close in the next 6 months. It is ending. And that's why expansion feels so attainable now. It feels so possible. And it is. Okay? All right, pile 3. I love you. Have an amazing week. And don't forget, if you are a subscriber on my website, to please log in, janeinternational.com, and go to the blog page, and you'll see the weeklies for each zodiac sign. Okay? All right. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.